Companies like Airbnb didn't just provide an alternative to hotel rooms. It plowed over the hotel and real estate industry, if you think about it. Today, the real estate industry is experiencing monumental disruption coming from multiple directions, including prop tech, AI, legal, media outlets, taxation, and even at the governance level. Hi, my name is Frank D'Angelo. I'm a real estate broker in Minnesota, and I'm your host for the Real Estate Disruption Podcast. And today, I have a very special guest who has been involved in technological disruption with a variety of technology giants over the past decade or so. Welcome, Annette Anthony. You're the Director of Corporate Engagement now at Exit Realty Corp International, and we really welcome you to the podcast. But before we kind of get into this, give me a little journey timeline over the last 10, 15 years in terms of your role with some of those disruption types of giants out there.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Frank. I really appreciate being with you and your audience. I love what you're doing. Really appreciate that. So I started in the real estate space back in 2001, and my heart has always been in training and education. And I was introduced to a small company called Sharper Agent that provides a CRM system, if you will, for real estate agents, which at the time in 2001, a CRM system was almost unheard of. So I was on a path to help agents become better relationship builders using that tool. Well, over my success in the real estate business and helping people use that technology to build their relationships, it afforded me other opportunities to meet big tech giants like Market Leader, like Trulia and Zillow. And through multiple acquisitions, right? I was still engaged doing what I love doing, but I was doing it with different, these big technological giants. All the while, you had our, at the time, CEO Tammy Bonnell, who was watching me taking very good care of regional owners and broker owners and agents at Exit Realty and helping them grow their business. That one day, 10 years ago, actually, Frank, she tapped me on the shoulder and said, "What if you could do what you love, but just do it with Exit Realty?" And that right there was a game changer. Over the last 23 years in real estate, keeping my head down and staying focused and just doing what I love. But now I get to do it with people who have the same values, tremendous leadership that's second to none. And now I get to do it with Exit, still helping agents build their business using technology to build better relationships.
Wonderful, thank you. So tell me a little bit about your current journey, like your title, your name, your saying, what's your aim and, your end game at the end of the day. So like, what are you doing day to day? What are your goals, short and long term, with respect to what you're doing in your current role? And then, what's your end game for this industry overall?
Absolutely. Thank you. So my day to day is helping our agents master their tools and resources so that they can grow their market share. I believe in helping them focus, breaking down technology into small, digestible bites, things that they can take action to every single day that's going to help them build stronger client relationships and overall help them close more deals. My goal is to help empower agents so that they can align their systems with their aspirations. You know, that's going to help them build a more sustainable business. And I know short term, I think about, helping them come up with ways to make training that's impactful, that's interactive. That's probably the most part that I'm passionate about. It's never the same type of training for every type of agent. It's coming up with innovative ways. My long term, though, is to make the tools and strategies that I teach them indispensable to the real estate business. And, when I look at the goal, right, like my ultimate vision is to help them leave a legacy, right? To leave a legacy of agents who thrive in any market condition. Because what they've mastered, Frank, is the art of leveraging systems and relationships.
Wonderful. Good segue to actually my second question. You've been doing some special things for myself as a broker owner in Minnesota, for our agents. We have engagement leaders right across Canada and the United States and every state, every province. and all of that. And you've been doing really something special with them. Uh, but what's your take on today's tech disruption with respect to agents trying to engage more, particularly with their sphere of influence versus, the people that they don't even know? What's your take on how the disruption is impacting that?
I've been working really closely with agents who are they're ready to move beyond the basics, right? That they're often mid-career or they're top producers. And what I'm helping them do is I'm helping them focus on reinforcing meaningful connections with their clients. And I'm helping them do this through multi-layered communication strategies. So, for example, I'm teaching them how to stack exits productivity tools with a personal touch. And what I do know is that agents that are doing this, they're not only nurturing relationships, but they're turning them into repeat business and referrals at remarkable rates. There could be a lot of distractions out there, but if they just stick with the basics, then they can weave in those new technologies in with what they're doing.
Wonderful. I remember meeting you way back when you were with Sharper Agent, I think it was,
Yeah.
prior, prior to Trulia in early 2000s when this whole web thing was starting to shift. And now I know what you're sharing with agents across the companies and in all the states and things. And so obviously you've really sharpened your skills and from books and podcasts. And what are some of the ones that you frequent or favorite, either podcast or books or both, that really help you get to where you are and help us get to where we want to be?
Yeah, so I have two. The ones that are on repeat, if you will. The one that I learned from our very own, director of leadership, Bob McKinnon, was how to deliver a great TED Talk. And I believe that that book is super impactful for an individual, whether you're in real estate and you just want to have powerful conversations with people, but it also helps me as a speaker be able to connect with my audience. There's another book that I absolutely love. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear. Obviously, this one aligns so good with real estate because it's about those powerful small actions over time. And how I coach agents to master their systems is the same way, right? Start small, stay consistent. When I say consistent, Frank, I always tell people practice makes what? And they always holler, what do you think, Frank?
Yeah,
Practice makes what?
they probably always holler perfect.
Right? But practice makes permanent, right? Those small actionable steps so that the results help them build momentum. But then I also, have discovered leveraging Headway, which is an app. It gives me just small little snippets of books which is kind of a newer way of me of reading books. I use the Headway app on my phone. It's kind of like how I clean my house. I might have the intention of cleaning out my refrigerator, but on my way to the kitchen, I see the living room, and then I pass by the bathroom, and before you know it, those rooms are done and the refrigerator gets done last. So it's kind of the, small little snippets of each of these books. It's like getting the best of each of these books and authors into like 15 to 20-minute digestible, moments. And I find that I use that more so than when I'm like, I can find myself scrolling sometimes, often in social media, like everybody does. You can get lost as you're scrolling through and time passes you. But Headway, I think of it as instead of scrolling, I'm going to go to Headway, listen to 20, maybe 40 minutes in 15-minute increments of time. And that just helps me really capture a lot of the essences of the books that I've been wanting to read. So I really do love that. And then podcasts, I've got actually I just pull up on my phone. I have so many different podcasts that I listen to, Mel Robbins, right? Jay Shetty, anything he has to say, I always listen. Even though he's interviewing people that have nothing to do with real estate, there is always something that they share in their lives that I can absolutely apply to my own. So anything primarily when I look at my list and I did, glance through what am I listening to, I often find that the what I find is a common theme is how do I make a better me? So it's not about crushing the business or managing my time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not about the win. It's about how do I build a better me so that the people that I'm interacting with get the best and most.
So I encourage anyone listening to just to rewind that because first of all, the two books that you talked about are pretty powerful books. Especially, the Atomic Habits piece.
Yes.
But you gave me a couple of pearls with your app and that, so I encourage the listeners go back and dabble with that. So Annette, in my experience, real estate agents are always kind of looking for something new, almost like squirrels. They're looking for a new hack or a
Yeah.
shortcut versus focusing on their systems or habits, like you said, James Clear, Atomic Habits. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on this in terms of, the squirrel-like behavior, always looking for a hack and a shortcut, or what should they be considered doing differently?
Yes. And social media plays a big part in that,
Does
where they're pressured into, expanding into new things. Hacks they offer temporary wins, right? It's like the 6-minute abs. It's not going to work.
right?
But, systems and habits, those things deliver lasting success, right? Now, real estate is built on trust, relationships, and expertise, period. And those things require consistent effort to build and absolutely to maintain those as well. Now, I encourage agents to, focus on creating routines that make their work scalable and effective so that when they do adapt, a hack, for instance, they're going to use it to enhance a solid foundation rather than replacing it. That's what I feel.
Wonderful. So you talked about trust, relationships, and expertise. So let's go down a different rabbit hole. Part of this whole squirrel-like behavior, like TikTok, and of course, all the big news with TikTok, and the other popular media platforms like Instagram and YouTube Shorts. How does that all play into today's situation, particularly for the realtors that are utilizing those platforms? Or is it a time suck, or should they be moving away from it? Where do you think they should go with this?
All of these platforms are, see, Katie Lance, she has this particular, way that she calls social media. It's rented ground, right? We don't own it. And at any time, it can be pulled out from under us. And we experienced that just this week. Now, I know people will be listening to this podcast, but mark my word, January 2025, there was a thing where TikTok went dark and not even for 24 hours. And the reaction of everyone, a lot of people I saw online was just unbelievable. You need to think about the social medias where you are and all the building that you're doing with the relationships. You don't want to leave them on those platforms. As you're connecting, you want to take that person because it is a person, it's a human. If you've made a connection with that individual, you resonate with their message, you're exchanging conversation, you're encouraging one another. Maybe you share one another's posts, you have things in common. You need to take that relationship that you developed online, you need to take it offline. You need to put them into your CRM system. Now, I know that doesn't sound sexy. I know it's not the 6-minute ab solution. It takes longer, but in the event that these, platforms do go away, and we've seen a result of that, what doesn't go away are the relationships that you've built. And you've spent a lot of time on these platforms. And when you lose, it's the pain of losing being able to connect with those individuals. Now, Facebook too has been down before where people freaked out, that they weren't able to get into their platform and the contacts and their content. Well, this is just a reminder for all of us to be mindful to take those relationships that we've developed online and then take them offline. Now, I also want to focus on, what you mentioned about technological disruption, that with so many tools and platforms available, agents do feel overwhelmed and they definitely underutilize what they have. And I always suggest to them to always have their why in front of them. Why are they doing this? Why are you on all the platforms when you really don't have the heart to be on all the platforms? So you really have to ask yourself, what's your goal? And then you want to simplify and then prioritize what your goals are. I think that's the most important thing. I teach the agents how to integrate these technologies into their workflows so that they can become enablers and not distractions. For instance, social media is a great place to peek into the lives of the people that you care about. So when you see something that is important to someone, pick up the phone. There's what's called a phone app. Have you ever heard of this phenomenon, Frank?
Right,
And I
right.
know that you have. I love the phone app because when I see something on social that's meaningful to someone else, that's an opportunity for me to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I just saw this really great announcement," or "Hey, I just saw that you're struggling with something." It gives me a chance to really connect with that person as a human. And that's what's expected of us, whether we know it or not. In 2025 and beyond, people are looking for more. They're looking for better. And I believe we can do that.
Thank you. Great insights there. So Annette, your specialty is digital creation and digital engagement. I mean, that's probably digital engagement is really your ultimate specialty, but it
Mm.
involves digital creation because agents are doing that. But other than reading more or taking more podcasts, what's the one thing that a producing agent should be focusing on and maybe avoiding in the realm of digital creation and or digital engagement?
I believe that an individual needs to be adaptable. You really do. To be proactive rather than reactive. And I'm sure there's a lot of cues that have happened just in the last year in 2024. That was a triggering year. Were you reactive or were you proactive in the different scenarios? I love to lean into discomfort. I love feedback, even though the feedback could be like, yikes, I didn't know that about me. But it gives you an opportunity to really refine it. That if you have processes right now and they're just not as they could be, that's an opportunity for you to say, you know what, I can make that better. If the market is shifting, right? It gives you opportunity to lean into how do you make yourself better informed as a result of what you're experiencing in the industry? And that's going to help agents really differentiate themselves in the coming year.
Remember back when you started in the early 2000s, I remember I might have, yeah, in fact, I was on a stage at an exit breakout session. We were talking about web platforms and we had a preferred vendor that had QR codes for listings in early 2000s on a smartphone.
Yeah,
And I would razzle dazzle all my listing appointments with the special QR code that showed everything about the house. This is early 2000s, right? And of course, the majority of people at that time didn't even have a smartphone. They had the
sure.
classic old flip phone. And so that whole tech creation, disruption, and engagement didn't really match up at the time. Then along comes this global pandemic, and all of a sudden QR codes are part of our lives in every way, shape, or
Mhm.
form. You can't even order a drink at an airport without scanning the QR code and paying for it, and they'll bring it to you to the table. So there's
Mhm.
been a lot of shift and disruption, but a lot of the disruption doesn't even apply to today. And so it kind of takes me to what I refer to Roy Amari's law, where we tend to overestimate the effect of potential early tech disruptions like AI right now,
Mhm.
and in the short term. And then as the years start to pass, here we are 2 or 3 years later, we start to underestimate its effect in the long run. Now, I've had my thoughts on this in AI world, but I'm wondering if you can share your thoughts in the AI space now that a couple of years have passed since ChatGPT kind of disrupted our real estate world, and actually the entire world, and it kind of lit up the world in the form of people in sales. So what's your take on that, Annette?
I mean, when you were saying about the COVID pandemic, right? And QR codes, my goodness, the pandemic got people to do video because that was their only way that they were able to connect with people. They weren't able to go face to face, but they opened up a Zoom account, right? And now they're face to face doing what they were facing dead on their biggest fear, which is doing video. And I applaud COVID for that because a lot of people still do video as a result because they saw themselves being, you know, proactive and hopping into a space where they weren't comfortable before, but they found it essential. And I think that's so important. But with respect to AI, man, You mentioned Chat GPT. I love Chat GPT. I mean, if you were to, like, I challenge your audience, okay, do a prompt on Chat GPT and just ask it, based on what you know about me, what are my strengths? And you're going to be so surprised that Chat GPT knows so much about you. But don't just stop there because you're going to feel good about yourself, okay, which is great. But you also want to do another prompt based on what you know about me. What are areas that I can improve both personally and professionally? And there too is another opportunity for you to see with a new lens what this amazing artificial intelligence is going to reveal to you. So important. But I look at this as, an example from when I was working for Zillow, right? The rise of digital lead generation tools. This is a perfect example with Zillow. When platforms like Zillow or Realtor.com emerged, many agents saw them as a threat or short-term disruption. Do you remember? They were
Right.
freaking out. But for those agents, Frank, who embrace their long-term potential, right, by refining their own digital presence and adopting complementary tools, they position themselves as market leaders. Now, why did they do that? Because Zillow and Realtor.com started to look at the customer and enhancing the experience, and they made it better. And as a result, for the agents who paid attention, they became better too, and it's really a good lesson in looking beyond the immediate, fear and seeing the opportunity to innovate. Now, I only ask agents that are listening to your podcast that, don't stop there. I believe that's so important in 2025 and beyond that we pass the knowledge of what we're learning, what's making us great, and share it with others because I believe, Frank, that so many other agents have the opportunity to just do better real estate business, to be more successful. And all of us, okay, including myself, didn't get where we are just by chance or by ourselves. It's because someone saw something in us that we didn't readily see ourselves. And they mentored us, they coached us, they encouraged us, they gave us constructive feedback, they pointed us to knowledge, all the things. And when each of us does that and we bring other people with us so that they too can be successful, because there's plenty of room for more people. I mean, think about it. In the industry, they say 80% of the business is being done by 20% of the realtors. I'm not okay with that. So I believe it's important for all of us. We need to do more good, right? More good being done. That's a good thing. That's what I believe.
Love that. So as you know, I've been a practitioner since the late 90s, and that was really phase 201 of real estate. Phase 101 was, the MLS book. Remember that? And you had those that had the MLS book had the whole world by you know what. And then 201 came in where the internet, I call it phase 201. The internet came on and all the properties went online, but yet realtors were so slow and lagging into that phase, and it almost took 10 years. And then here we are now transferring from the internet world to a very digital space, and AI is going to be a huge impact. In fact, I do some CE for our state and our local associations on how AI is impacting the whole global market, not only real estate, but just global economy. And and that lag time that took place in the late 90s, early 2000s, I really worry about our agents overall, our industry overall, hoping that they don't lag because it's very, very disruptive. It's happening in tiny bites of information times
Mm,
and tiny bites of timelines. And you talked about ChatGPT and Claude AI and Perplexity. Those are like three of my favorite avenues. So this real estate 301 is impacting in a quick way, and it might impact our industry quite a bit in terms of even shrinking. You said the 80-20 to maybe 95-5,
yeah.
or 5% are going to do 95% of the business. So what are your thoughts on all of this? Because we practitioners in the space, Annette, we typically are solopreneurs, right? We're just want to do it all by ourselves.
Yeah.
And for that might be one of the reasons why it's lagging. Now I'm just kind of thinking out loud why the industry has lagged to adaptation, to disruption, to change. And so what are your suggestions for the solopreneurs, the entrepreneurs trying to figure it out on their own with all of this disruption that's coming in, particularly either in the AI space or any other disruption?
It all boils down to the use of technology, right? What are we going to do with it? How are we going to implement it in our day? What do we need to tackle first? And what's going to happen along the way to help me be successful? And how do I measure that? Now, we can't save the entire industry, but what I can tell you is that at Exit Realty, we're focusing on really making sure that the tools we provide our agents are effective. Okay. That we're not just building for a specific type of agent. It's for any agent who wants to build better relationships with their clients. It's technology that works. The second thing is we help them see the data, right, behind their technology. So, for example, when the agents use our technology, they get a notification immediately that connects them with the human potential lead, potential buyer, seller, potential agent they want to invite. It connects them with their mobile number. So then we teach our agents connect with them within the first 60 seconds, not 60 minutes, not 60 days, 60 seconds. And all you have to say is, hey, I see you're using my mobile business card, or I see you're using my app or my smart sign technology, whatever that is. That lets the consumer know that it's no longer about tech and humans interacting, but it's actually human to human, as it's always should be. We want to position our technology where it really gives that potential home buyer, seller, agent who's looking for a better brand to say, wow, they're focusing on me and my needs. Okay. So we make sure that our technology does that. What we also do is provide numbers. So any agent can go into the resource center and see how effective are they using the technology. Now, our people are very, very, what's the word I want to say? Competitive, right? When they see numbers on their dashboard that they haven't used their mobile business card or they're not engaging with a particular tool, it encourages them to look at that and say, you know what? If I just sit down during my lunch break, maybe I'm on the go, maybe I'm at my desk, I'm going to engage with 5 people because that's going to crush my numbers for last month. That's easy. So we put these numbers in front of the agents so that we can help them, really get the best and most out of their tools. Because so often, Frank, agents are using tools, but they have no idea how engaged. They don't have any monitoring to let them know if they're getting the best and most out of it. We do. Now, for the broker owners, we provide the same visual, kind of like your instruments on your dashboard, where we let the broker owner know, hey, here's your engagement for your office. And we do this because we want them to always be knowing where are the agents doing a great job? And where is the opportunity that maybe we can pull Annette in and do a training specific? Because sometimes, when it's the same person talking about the same information, or even they're talking about the same tools and resources, agents might tune out. But then when I come in and I'll do a special training, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know about that. It often happens. And that's okay as long as they're getting the information, they get re-inspired to use it. But we created that dashboard, Frank, so that owners can see the strengths and opportunities within their own office. And what we love most about it is that the owners can really go granular and see which agents are doing a really great job. So when they do, because of that, our broker owners can then tap on that agent's shoulder and say, hey, you're doing such a great job. At our next office meeting, would you mind sharing a few minutes of how are you using it? What's the reaction? What do you say? How do you follow up? Now it's peer-to-peer learning, and it's game changer, Frank, on how it's helping our offices grow. But then in 2024, we introduced workflows. So basically, it's a sequence of tasks. Now, there are platforms that owners can use, like Asana or Jira. Those are great tools for project management. However, those project management tools don't intertwine, or they don't have the agent information, They don't have, events like new listing or accepted contract or just sold, right? They don't have any of that information. They have to hand key that information in. We've developed a platform where it does it for them. So it really positions our owners to be great mentors. At any time they can see what agents are doing what activities. And what it also does is it helps them at scale be able to be a great mentor. They'll be able to see who's struggling in the process. No more having to send out multiple emails. No more having an agent say, hey, got a sec because they don't know what to do next, right?
Yeah.
So for us at Exit, you know, even for the industry, you have to know that the people that you align with are advocating for your success. We can't save everyone. But I can tell you that at Exit Realty, we are absolutely focused on helping our agents close more business and help our broker owners, help them be able to oversee. And what I love the most is I have lots of conversations with our broker owners who'll just call and say, hey, I just need some help. I want you to teach a class about, maybe they say like Facebook. But before our call, Frank, like I love to get kind of a glimpse of how engaged or not is their office. And sometimes they just didn't realize, wow, before I talk about Facebook, let's talk about the tools that we do have,
Right.
to really keep them melded into the company. It's an absolute pleasure, to be with our team, to figure out what are the best tools and resources and how do we keep taking it to the next level.
I feel really blessed that you're part of our team here at Exit as well. So you mentioned Asani. So as the president of a local association, actually a mega association here in Minnesota,
Yeah.
our our organization is utilizing Asani for developing strategic plan. And then you
Yeah.
mentioned the workflows that we have inside of the resource center at Exit. It's all set up for us. And our admin team is just really working on setting up the workflows to help with the efficiencies that are built in with the technology that Exit Corp's already set. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Many
Absolutely.
brokers,
We're proud.
yeah, many brokers and agents that are watching this are going to say, well, maybe I should connect with Annette and talk about what we could do at our office, and maybe some of the agents might want to reach out to their broker and get you connected. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Annette?
Absolutely. So you just want to take out your mobile device. You want to compose a brand new text message. The number you're going to text to is a 5-digit number, 85377. In the message area, you want to type the phrase engage, because that's what I do. My purpose is to engage, Engage. When you send that text message, you're going to receive all the ways that you can connect. So whether it's phone, social, email, whatever, text, whatever is the best for you, reach out. Let's start a conversation of how we can help you close more business.
Perfect. Great way to close the day. Annette, I'm so grateful for your time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, Frank. Thank you.
Bye-bye.